Unexpectedly revealed, the touching journey of a black girl who proved doubters wrong in 30 days. Zaria Mitchell stood in front of her easel, paint-splattered hands trembling with excitement, a beacon of dreams in a suburb where hope often felt like a fading echo. Just 12 years old, her spirits soared high above the looming shadows of a life filled with challenges. With every stroke of her brush, she captured the vibrant world that lay beyond her small Atlanta neighborhood, a world that seemed determined to stifle her creativity yet could not dim her passion. But there were barriers. She could almost hear her mother's tired sighs, each one filled with love yet weighted down by worries. Zaria's dreams of attending a prestigious summer art program felt as distant as the stars, beautiful, shimmering, but far out of reach. Would her mother ever believe in her big dreams? The specter of doubt haunted her home, mixing with laughter and resilience, making the air feel thick with unspoken fears. As recent rallies for social justice unfolded around her block, Zaria felt a fire igniting within her. Art was not just her outlet, it was her voice in a world that too often overlooked her identity. Each brushstroke transformed her emotions into vivid scenes that screamed for attention, yearning for connection. And so she devised a bold plan, a crowdfunding campaign, a chance to reclaim her future. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. With each heartfelt post, Zaria spilled her truth onto her social media. She faced a wall of skepticism, whispers of doubt from old friends and hints of mockery from former classmates bounced around her like ricocheting bullets. But each time she painted, watched the colors meld, she reminded herself, her story mattered. As days turned into a countdown, obstacles emerged. At the park, someone sneered, "Don't you think you're dreaming too big for a girl like you?" That comment pierced her like glass, but even with tight chests and stinging eyes, she pressed on, fueled by hope. Unexpectedly, support began to bubble up from the cracks around her. Local veterans saw the spark in her creativity and rallied their networks, sending waves of encouragement that lit up her campaign. Strangers who understood the power of dreams joined her cause, touching Zaria's heart and revitalizing her spirit. One fateful evening, with the community center buzzing with life, Zaria stood before a crowd. Butterflies danced in her stomach. Would they see her struggle as beauty, or would doubt drown her out? She felt the weight of her words, a mass of hopes, fears, and determination ready to erupt in honesty. The room held its breath as she poured out everything, her dreams, her pain, her fight for recognition. With each moment ticking closer to her deadline, she had become more than an artist, she was a voice for those who felt unheard. Just as hope began to spread, her phone buzzed, a message chiming in with an unexpected twist that could change everything. The echoes of doubt faded, but what awaited her next was a mystery unfolding. Zaria squinted at the glowing screen of her phone, her heart pounding like a drum in her chest. The message had come from a name she didn't recognize: Marissa Taylor. Eager yet apprehensive, she tapped the notification, her breath hitching as new possibilities unfurled before her like the paint on her palette. "Hi Zaria. I saw your crowdfunding campaign and your artwork online. I'm a curator at the Atlanta Art Collective, and we'd love to feature your pieces in our upcoming showcase if you're interested." Time froze. Was this real? A professional curator? Zaria's pulse raced as she reread the message, doubt creeping in, like that voice at the park whispering in her ear. "This is too good to be true," she muttered under her breath. But her heart was quick to dispel the shadows of skepticism. This could be the opportunity she had been dreaming about. She could no longer stifle that voice inside her that insisted she deserved this chance. With trembling hands, she typed a response, the words spilling out faster than she could think. "I'm definitely interested. Thank you for reaching out. Sending the message made her lightheaded. The world outside the window blurred as electrifying possibilities swirled in her mind. Images of her artwork hanging in a gallery danced around, colors bright, people admiring her passion, her voice echoing in the air. A smile broke across her face, but it was quickly replaced by reality that pinched at her heart again. Did she have enough time? The deadline for her crowdfunding campaign loomed ahead like a dark cloud. Feeling a wave of determination, Zaria turned back to her easel. With renewed vigor, she painted, pouring her heart into every brushstroke. As vibrant hues swirled together, she envisioned a future one where she could light the way not just for herself, but for others chasing dreams in the shadows. Each vibrant stroke screamed hope, resilience, and belief, and Zaria's soul danced with every flick of her brush. She was creating more than just art, she was forging her path, shaping her identity, and redefining her world. Her mother's voice echoed in her mind. You work hard, Zaria. Dreams don't come easy. Those words were heavy, but they also fueled Zaria's fire. She had worked hard. Now it was time to show the world what that hard work could do. Days passed, and with every social media post that went up, support coalesced. Friends from her past who once doubted her began to check in, offering encouraging remarks and sharing her posts. Strangers came to her aid, local businesses chimed in to contribute and promote her campaign. But shadows began to grow again. The fear of failure clung to her, tightening its grip as the campaign clock ticked away. Even as projected numbers increased, Zaria felt her stomach twist. What if people only cared out of pity? What if they only saw a black girl with dreams too big for her shaky hands? Just as these thoughts started spinning, Zaria received a call from Marissa. Zaria, we're just getting ready for the showcase. We'd love for you to join us. It's a big opportunity. For a moment, exhilaration squeezed out all her fears. Before she could respond, Marissa added, we want to hear your story too. Join us next week for an interview. What she didn't expect was the well of excitement stirring deep inside her, a pull that reminded her of why she painted in the first place. Zaria felt seen, understood, and inspired. See you then, she exclaimed, her heart pounding. Now it was not just about reaching her goal, it was about sharing her truth. Zaria grabbed her brushes and painted with new fervor, her story unfolding in bright colors. But just as she immersed herself in her art, another text popped up from a friend, pulling her back from her creative trance. The word sent a chill down her spine, rattling the fragile confidence she had just built. It felt like air had been sucked from the room, and questions loomed over her like dark clouds. What did it say? Zaria's heart dropped as she stared at the text on her screen. It was from Mia, an old friend from high school. Zaria, I heard about your campaign, but do you really think you're ready for this? I mean, what if it doesn't go well? I don't want to see you get hurt. Her initial excitement started to shatter like glass, sharp and jarring. She hadn't expected such a message, especially now when she felt so vulnerable, standing at the precipice of what could be a monumental opportunity. She couldn't shake the creeping sense of doubt that wrapped around her like a fog, blurring her vision. Was there truth in Mia's concern? Could she really pull this off? Zaria pressed her fingers against her lips, a nervous gesture she often fell into. The canvas before her, once a vibrant place of imagination and hope, suddenly felt like a stage where she stood exposed and unprepared. Could her art withstand the scrutiny? Taking a deep breath, she forced herself to read the message again. Instead of pushing away with anger or resentment, she felt an unexpected wave of understanding. Mia cared. Everyone cared, but that didn't mean they believed in her. She glanced at her easel, where brush strokes captured her spirit, her experiences, her dreams. Each painting told a story, unique and personal. This was more than just art, this was a part of her fighting against every whisper of doubt. Zaria knew she couldn't sabotage herself before the chance to shine even existed. She typed slowly, trying to gather her emotions. "Thanks for your concern, Mia. I know it's a risk, and I'm scared. But I have to do this for us. I need to take the leap." With those words sent, a flicker of determination sparked within her. She rolled her shoulders back, standing taller. The momentary waver of doubt began to dissipate as she pulled her palette closer and mixed an explosion of colors that reflected her resolve. Each stroke was now an act of defiance against fear. Time slipped away as she absorbed herself in the canvas, surrendering to every swirl and splatter. Colors merged, creating something new and beautiful, much like her journey. Emotions poured out, another layer revealing her story. Then her phone buzzed again. This time, it was her mom. A video message popped up, her mother's warm smile instantly comforting. "Zaria, I believe in you. Remember, it's not just about the destination, it's about how far you've come. You are more than capable. Show the world what you've got." Tears prickled at Zaria's eyes. Her mother's faith fueled her flame. That's what she needed to focus on, not the doubts of others, but the love and support surrounding her. Fueled by this new energy, Zaria stepped back to view her progress. The painting before her had evolved into a story, the colors just flowed. It felt electric, full of life and spirit. As night fell, Zaria leaned back against her easel, catching her breath. She had transformed her insecurities into something tangible. A new message from Marissa jolted her from her thoughts. "Zaria. Can't wait to see you next week. We're so excited about your work." A flutter of anticipation bubbled in her chest. It felt like a tidal wave of support just swept over her, dispelling shadows of doubt. But before she could bask in that moment too long, another notification popped up. An ominous alert flashed on the screen and froze her. "Zaria, I think you should know, something is happening with your campaign." Her breath caught as dread seeped back in, weighing heavy on her heart. What could it be? With shaky hands, she opened the message, preparing for anything. Little did she know, this revelation would take her on a path she never expected. What twist lay ahead that could change everything? Zaria's heart raced as she read the message. Each word felt heavy and cold, an anchor in a sea of her swirling thoughts. "Something is happening with your campaign." What kind of something? Doubts crawled back into her mind, whispering their old familiar lies. Taking a deep breath, she tried to pull herself together. The world outside her studio was quiet. The shadows danced along the walls, and her reflection in the window shimmered like a ghost. She closed her eyes for a moment, feeling the thrum of uncertainty behind her eyelids. Finally, she clicked the notification to open the message fully. Her fingers trembled slightly. "Zaria," the text began, "a conflicting review about your work was posted online. It's gone viral and not in the way you hoped. People are talking and not all of it is good." Her stomach dropped. The light of hope she had been nurturing felt like it flickered out. At that moment, she wanted to shout, to throw her phone across the room. How could anyone judge the depth of her soul through mere pixels on a screen? But as she grappled with anger, it was quickly replaced by disbelief. "They wouldn't understand," she muttered under her breath. She felt the urge to defend herself, to tell the critics the stories behind her paintings, the nights spent fighting anxiety, the countless brushes dipped in colors that represented every part of her journey. With her fingers still alive on the keyboard, she quickly opened the review. The words poured out like venom, critiquing her chosen colors, calling her art immature and hasty. Each sentence felt like a punch to her gut. Everything she thought was beautiful and truthful was now under siege. She wanted to fight back, to rebut every unfair point, but a small voice in her head whispered to hold on. Maybe they're right. The thought clawed at her heart. What if I'm not ready? What if they see me as a fraud? But then, she remembered her mother's words. They danced around her mind like the brush strokes on her canvas. It was about how far she'd come. Art wasn't just about perfection. It was about expression. Maybe this was the fire she needed, the strength to turn criticisms into fuel for her creativity. Zaria took a deep breath and closed her eyes again. This time, she envisioned her community, the faces of Marissa, Mia, and her mother all rooting for her. Their support was unwavering, they believed in her even when she felt small. Inspired, she grabbed her brush and let it glide across the canvas, channeling her pain into art. She created with fervor, splattering colors with a renewed passion. In those strokes, she poured out her resilience, her fight against doubt, transforming hurt into beauty. Hours slipped by as the sun began to rise, painting the room in soft, warm light. She stepped back, panting, and gazed at the painting. It spoke of truth, vulnerability, and strength. It was an embodiment of her spirit, a raw, unapologetic piece that dared to embrace imperfections. Just then, her phone buzzed again. It was Marissa. "Zaria. We need to talk. People want to get behind you in defense of your work. I think we can turn this around." Zaria's heart raced again, but this time with hopeful excitement. Would she have the courage to embrace the support? Could this truly become a turning point, not just for her campaign, but for herself? As she pondered these questions, a knock at the door startled her. Who could that be so early in the morning? A sense of anticipation built inside her. A new twist lay just beyond the threshold, waiting to unfold. Zaria took a deep breath, relishing the moment before opening the door. Her heart thudded like a bass drum against her ribcage. What awaited her might change everything. When she opened the door, standing there was a tall figure wrapped in a thick hoodie. It was Jay, a former classmate and an unexpected ally. His presence was surprising at this hour. "Hey, Zaria," he said, a wide smile lighting up his face. "I heard about the review. I wanted to see how you're handling it." There was something genuine in his eyes, a reminder of the camaraderie they once shared in art classes. She stepped aside, gesturing for him to come in. "Thanks, Jay. I've been feeling kind of overwhelmed." He nodded, motioning toward the canvas set behind her. "That looks amazing. What are you calling it?" "A reflection of me," she replied, her pulse quickening. "It's my response to all of this." She waved her hand in the air, gesturing toward her phone still resting on the table. Jay stepped closer, his eyes filled with admiration. "You should share it. Don't let those critics define you. They don't understand what you went through to create that." A wave of gratitude washed over her. Jay's unwavering belief in her, coupled with Marissa's support, ignited a flicker of confidence within. "You know, I was just about to share it on social media," she said, a smile finding its way onto her lips. Jay raised an eyebrow playfully. "I can help with that too. Let's create a buzz. This is your time to shine." Zaria felt a flutter in her stomach, a mix of fear and excitement. As Jay pulled out his phone, they strategized together. Their laughter echoed through the studio, a lightness that felt foreign but welcome. They talked about hashtags, potential messages, and what stories to share about the meaning behind her art. As they posted, Zaria's heart raced with both anxiety and hope. She could feel her pulse thumping in her ears. Would anyone care? Was she ready to embrace this moment? Then came the notifications. One by one, they popped up: likes, supportive comments, shares. The rush of positivity swelled inside her. It felt different this time. Each message was like a balm to the wounds caused by the harsh review. "See? People are beginning to rally," Jay said, his excitement infectious. "Your work deserves to be seen, and it speaks to so many. You're not alone anymore." Zaria nodded, feeling the warmth of community wrap around her like a cocoon. Suddenly, she remembered the faces of her supporters, her mom's comforting words echoing back. Maybe this moment, this very minute, could pave the way for something bigger. Let us keep this momentum going, she said, her voice steady and firm. I want to share my journey. I want people to know who I am and why I create. Jay clapped his hands together. That's the spirit. Let us gather everyone, Marissa, Mia, anyone who believed in you since day one. We'll create an event. A showcase. A surge of excitement rushed over her. It felt right, like a triumph waiting to happen. Yet, as the adrenaline coursed through her veins, another thought settled in. But what if they come for me again? What if this all falls apart? Then you rise again, Jay replied, his voice unwavering. We all do. Together. Zaria's heart swelled, and for the first time, she felt like she had a real chance. With a new determination burning in her chest, she picked up her brush again. As she painted, the colors seemed to dance, each stroke deepening her resolve. But just as she was about to lose herself in her art once more, a new message buzzed on her phone. This one was from Mia. Zaria, we need to talk. Something big just happened. Could it be more good news, or would it add to her worries? She felt a knot form in her stomach as she glanced at Jay, who raised an eyebrow, sensing her sudden change in energy. What lay ahead felt both exhilarating and terrifying. An unexpected twist was waiting for her, and Zaria was ready to confront whatever it may be. Zaria stared at her phone, her heart hammering in her chest. We need to talk. The words echoed in her mind as she chewed on her bottom lip. What could Mia possibly have to say that was big? Had something changed with the gallery? Jay leaned in closer, his eyes narrowing in curiosity. What's up? Is everything okay? She shook her head. I don't know. Mia's always full of surprises, but lately, they've been overwhelming. Jay offered a reassuring smile. Let us find out together. You can handle this. Taking a deep breath, Zaria tapped on Mia's message. What's going on? Mia's response came almost instantly. There's a potential investor for your art. They're interested in supporting the showcase, but I need to explain everything in person. Can we meet? Zaria felt a rush of emotions: confusion, excitement, and a wave of anxiety. An investor? This was all happening so fast. I guess I'll meet her. I just need to process everything, she said, her voice wavering slightly as she turned to Jay, seeking his reassurance. Absolutely. Let us do this. He was pumped as he pulled up some pictures of past showcases on his phone. We'll prepare to wow them. Even though Jay's enthusiasm was infectious, Zaria's stomach twisted into knots. What if they don't like my work? What if they see my last review and walk away? The fear of rejection crashed over her, bringing back that familiar rush of self-doubt. Then they're missing out, Jay replied, a fierce determination lighting his eyes. You know your worth, Zaria. Focus on that. She nodded, though the anxious thoughts crept back in like shadows. I'll try, but it's hard. Don't you remember the hashtags we chose? Art with heart and resilience in color? Let those be your guide. Your art is beautiful and meaningful. He grinned, a reminder of how far they had come in just a few hours. Taking a moment, Zaria let his words sink in. Maybe this was her chance to prove herself, not just to others, but to herself as well. Okay, I'll do it. I'll meet Mia, she finally decided, surprising herself with the conviction in her voice. Jay pumped his fist in the air. That's the attitude. You're going to crush this, I know it. As she prepared to start painting again, the weight of the upcoming meeting hung over her like a fog. But mixed with it was a budding excitement. What if this really was a turning point? Time seemed to slip by as they sat together, brainstorming ideas for the showcase, planning out every detail: the music, the lighting, even the refreshments for guests. Zaria found herself smiling more often, the laughter returning, the colors on her canvas revitalizing her spirit. With each stroke, she infused a little more hope into her work, imagining the potential for something so much more significant than just her art. Suddenly, her phone buzzed again. Mia was texting. Zaria glanced at Jay, who was now intently focused on a bright blue paint tube. "Do you think I should tell her about the performance?" Zaria asked, her voice uncertain. "If it's all about the art, shouldn't I keep it simple?" Jay looked up, thoughtful. "If the performance shows who you are and gives your art a voice, absolutely share it." With a newfound confidence, Zaria responded to Mia, sharing her idea. But seconds later, she paused, staring at the screen. She hesitated, fingers hovering over the keyboard. What if Mia didn't see it as a good idea? What if she thought it would bring more trouble than it was worth? Just then, Jay broke her train of thought. "Alright, let us grab some food. You need to fuel up before this big moment." As they stepped outside, the crisp air hit her face, and she felt a surge of warmth. The sun was setting, casting a golden glow over everything, as her anxiety faded for just a moment. "Mia will love it," Jay said, breaking her reverie. "And even if it doesn't work out the way you hope, you're still standing tall. You are your own truth now." But even as she absorbed his words, a worry gnawed at her. What if this was all too much too soon? What if she wasn't ready for the spotlight? What would happen in that meeting? Zaria couldn't help but feel the swell of uncertainty rising again. She only hoped she was strong enough to stand her ground. "Are you ready for this?" Jay asked, his voice steady as he looked into her eyes. "Ready or not," she replied, her heart racing in anticipation. As they turned the corner, Zaria knew something was about to unfold. An unexpected moment was waiting, and she could only hope she was prepared for whatever came next. The cafe had an inviting warmth, filled with the sweet aroma of baked goods and fresh coffee. As Zaria and Jay stepped inside, the low hum of chatter wrapped around them, a comforting backdrop to her swirling thoughts. Zaria felt the weight of expectation heavy in the air, her heart still racing with the anticipation of her meeting with Mia. She found a small table in the corner, a bit away from the busy flow, where she could focus. "Okay, let us get our heads in the game," Jay said, sliding into the seat across from her. "What's next for our pitch? We want to present you as the artist who's ready to take the world by storm." Zaria took a deep breath and nodded. "Right. The art, the performance. It all has to come together seamlessly." She stared into her coffee, trying to gather her thoughts. Already, she could feel the cracks of self-doubt creeping back in. But what if I mess up? What if my art doesn't resonate? "Zaria," Jay leaned forward, his expression intense, "you're not asking for permission. You're showing them who you are. And who you are is extraordinary. Just think about how far you've come." She offered a small smile, warmed by his encouragement. Jay always had that way of lighting a fire within her, igniting a spark when she felt lost in the shadows. "Okay, let us talk about the performance. I have this whole idea." As she described her vision, words poured out like paint from her brush, her passion lifting them both. She envisioned the music a powerful piece underscoring deep emotional moments, interwoven with vibrant visuals that told her story. The concept felt alive, like her work finally had a voice beyond the canvas. "See?" Jay said, his eyes brightening. "When you let your heart speak, it's unbeatable. Just think of how they will feel when they see and hear your truth." Zaria felt a flicker of hope. What if this performance could truly touch someone? What if it sparked connection, the kind that transcended her insecurities? And the invite, what do we need to make it special? Something that grabs their attention and doesn't let go, Jay continued, tapping away on his phone to note down ideas. Maybe something more than just the standard invite. A piece of art included? Like a small print they can take with them. A reminder of the experience? Zaria mused, her creative gears turning faster with every thought. Brilliant. You make them feel something before they even step through the door, then hit them with the full experience. Jay grinned, his excitement contagious. The cafe's door chimed as a new group entered, laughter spilling in. Zaria glanced up, momentarily distracted by the carefree atmosphere, and wondered if it was that uncomplicated if just expressing herself with joy would be enough to win over her potential investor. But beneath the layers of hope, worry stirred again. Was she truly ready to take this leap? The stakes felt so high, the fear of failure shadowed the blooming excitement. What's going on in that brilliant mind of yours? Jay asked, sensing her retreat. I'm scared, Jay. Zaria admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. What if they don't see me? What if they only see the art? Then you show them just how wrong they are. He said, his voice steady, a call to arms. You are your art, Zaria. They won't only be looking at paint on a surface, they feel the heart you've poured into it. She nodded, allowing his words to bridge the gap between doubt and determination. Just then, her phone buzzed, pulling her mind back to the present. It's Mia, she said, her fingers trembling as she opened the message. Her heart raced again when she saw the content. Can we meet in 30 minutes? Whoa, that's quick. Jay exclaimed. Are you ready for this? No more backing out, no more waiting. Zaria felt the weight of the moment almost lift her off the ground as anticipation rolled in, and just like that, clarity broke through the noise in her mind. I am ready, she said, her voice firm. As they made their way out, each step felt like a heartbeat echoing confidence. But just before exiting, Zaria paused, looking out. At the bustling street. I think this is a turning point for me, Jay. I can feel it. Good. Just remember, it doesn't matter how they respond, you've already taken the leap, he encouraged. With resolve, Zaria stepped outside into the bright sunlight, her mind racing with possibilities. But as they neared the gallery, a new wave of anxiety hit her. What if this moment shattered her expectations? What awaited her in those golden-hued walls? Zaria clenched her hands, feeling that mixture of expectation and fear. Could she really prove herself? As they approached the entrance, another message pinged on Zaria's phone, one that made her insides twist. By the way, it read, I hope you're ready to impress. Our investor is someone you'll need to be on your best game for. Her breath hitched, anticipation morphing into uncertainty. Who was this investor, and why was Mia so cryptic? Zaria glanced at Jay, her heart pounding. This was no longer just about art. This was about to change everything. The gallery loomed ahead, its glass facade glinting in the afternoon sun like a promise. Every inch of Zaria's being vibrated with anticipation and dread. She shared a glance with Jay, who offered her an encouraging nod. You got this, he urged, but a deep-seated worry churned within her. As they stepped inside, the atmosphere shifted. The light was softer, the chatter quieter. It felt more like a sacred space. Each piece of art on the walls was like a whisper, beckoning her to embrace her own truth amidst doubt. Mia was already there, her presence commanding yet warm. She was perched on a stool, scrolling through her tablet. Upon seeing Zaria, she straightened, her smile wide. You made it. I was starting to wonder if you'd chicken out, she teased lightly, but Zaria sensed the underlying seriousness. Not a chance, Zaria replied, attempting the bravado that she didn't entirely feel. She had come too far to turn back now. Mia's energy sparked a flicker of hope, and Zaria took a step further into the gallery. Let us get right into it. The investor will be here any minute, Mia announced, pressing a button that illuminated an array of artworks projected on a screen. Images flashed by vibrant, dynamic, filled with raw emotion. Each piece told a story, and Zaria felt her heart race, realizing she had crafted something deeply personal that was about to be laid bare. Are you ready to share your soul? Jay whispered, holding her gaze. She nodded, though the pounding in her chest told her otherwise. Before she could second-guess herself, Mia gestured for Zaria to come forward. "Zaria, this is your moment. Show them why your art matters." As Zaria moved closer to the screen, butterflies danced in her stomach. This was not just a presentation, it felt like a dive into the deep end of her identity. She took a breath, feeling that familiar surge of fear alongside the high tide of courage. It was time to reveal the very essence of herself, and she knew that every stroke of her brush could either uplift or shatter her dreams. The moment she began to speak, a wave of vulnerability washed over her. "Art is my voice," she started, her words trembling but resolute. "Each piece comes from a story, my story. I've poured my heart into every canvas, every performance. It's not just about the art, it's about sharing a connection." Their eyes were on her, a mix of curiosity and expectation, and she found strength in the silence that followed. "I want people to feel seen, to feel heard as I have struggled to do for so long." Zaria held her breath as an image of her most poignant piece filled the screen, a turbulent dance of colors representing her journey. It was vulnerable, raw, and undeniably real. Her heart pounded in her ears, and she glanced quickly at Jay, who was leaning in with rapt attention. As she continued, she started to notice their expressions shifting. Her true essence was stirring something deeper within them. A few nodded, others leaned forward, intrigued, and for the first time, Zaria was beginning to believe that they were seeing her not just the art she created. But just as a sense of accomplishment began to wash over her, a voice broke through the moment. "Tell me more about this investor," a voice demanded. Zaria's heart sank again. She had nearly forgotten about the looming presence of the investor, the one who held the key to her dreams. "Yes," Mia replied smoothly, "they have an eye for potential. They'll bring a new platform to Zaria's work." "Potential?" The voice continued, a mixture of skepticism and challenge. "What makes this art special? Everyone claims their work is unique." Zaria's heart dropped. Here it was the moment she feared most, the litmus test of her dreams. "Because it's true," she stated, her voice stronger than before. "It's not just art, it's a reflection of every hardship, every tear I've cried, and every dream I still hold on to." The room fell into silence again. Zaria pushed on, fueled by her own passion. "This is a celebration of resilience. It's about representation and the stories that need to be told. If you look beyond the canvas, you'll see a history of struggle and hope." The moment hung thick in the air, and Zaria's breath caught as she stole glances at Jay, then at Mia, searching for assurance. Would they get it? Would the investor? Or would her truth fall flat? At that moment, another message chimed through Zaria's phone, a stark reminder of the uncertainty that still thrummed beneath her confident facade. "The investor is arriving soon. Get ready." Zaria's stomach twisted. This was only the beginning, but what if the ending wasn't what she hoped for? As the tension mounted, she felt the weight of expectation descend upon her like a storm cloud threatening to break. The floor trembled beneath her, and she shivered. Was she ready for whatever came next? But the real question loomed larger: could she transform doubt into triumph? As the gallery door swung open, she caught her breath. This moment could change everything. As the door creaked open, Zaria's heart raced. The air shifted, filled with a new energy that made her skin prick with anticipation. She sensed it before she saw him, a presence that seemed to command attention. The investor, a well-dressed man with sharp features and an unwavering gaze, stepped into the gallery, the world around him fading just slightly in that moment. "Is this where the magic happens?" he asked, his voice smooth but edged with authority. Mia straightened, reclaiming the moment. "Absolutely. Zaria, meet Mr. Collins," she said with an expectant smile. Zaria's stomach fluttered. This was the man who could change everything for her, yet his steely expression left her gut churning. Did he see magic or just another hopeful artist? "Let us see what you've got," Mr. Collins prompted, crossing his arms and glancing around, as if assessing the entire gallery in one sweep. Zaria stepped forward, her palms clammy against the cool fabric of her dress. She fought against the white noise of anxiety blurring her thoughts. What if he didn't understand? What if he saw nothing of worth in her struggle? She cleared her throat, gathering strength from the quiet support of Jay and Mia behind her. My art reflects the experiences of identity and struggle, she began, locking eyes with Mr. Collins. It's about finding your voice in a world that often tries to drown it out. As the images flashed on the screen behind her, she described each piece. The colors, the emotions that swirled within. This one, she gestured to a vibrant canvas that depicted a young girl surrounded by darkness but reaching for the light, represents hope. It's about resilience in the face of adversity. Mr. Collins tilted his head, his eyes narrowing slightly. Zaria held her breath, feeling exposed under his scrutiny. What did he think? Did he see beyond the brush strokes? It's a strong message, but I need to know your vision. Where do you see yourself going with this? His question hung heavy, waiting for an answer. Zaria took a moment, her thoughts racing. I want to inspire others, especially young girls who feel invisible. I want them to see that their stories matter, that they can rise above expectations. I want to create a movement that gives voice to the unheard. For a heartbeat, silence enveloped them. Zaria felt her heart beating loudly in her ears. Was it too much? Was she being too ambitious? Then, in a surprising turn, Mr. Collins smiled, a genuine one that lightened his features. Now that's the kind of passion I'm looking for. But the market needs more than a heartfelt story. It's a tough world out there. His words sank deep. Zaria could feel the weight of their reality pressing down on her. I understand. But passion fuels my work. And I believe there's a space for it just needs a platform. She noticed Jay nodding vigorously behind her while Mia whispered, "You're doing great." Encouraged, Zaria pressed on. Art has the power to transform lives. Let us create something impactful together. Mr. Collins' expression shifted, a spark of interest lighting in his eyes. Let us talk numbers. Zaria inhaled sharply, the tension shifting, her heart now filled with cautious hope. They navigated through potential collaborations and platforms, but even as they discussed, doubt clung to the edges of her mind. Numbers. Projections. Would they understand the value of her truth amid all the analytics? Could she really make them see the human side of her art? Suddenly, a loud noise interrupted their exchange, a bursting laugh across the room. Zaria turned to see another group of potential investors had entered, captivated by the ambience. It was a reminder of the competition, the endless battle of stories vying for attention. I need to show them, too, Zaria thought fiercely. There wasn't just one opportunity here. There were many, and she had to be ready to seize each one. Make sure to follow up with your proposal, Mr. Collins instructed, nodding at her before stepping back to address the newcomers. Zaria's mind raced as she stood, feeling like a cat on a hot tin roof. It wasn't over yet, not by a long shot. She needed to secure her chance and still had to confront the potential rejection from this crowd. In that moment, with every heart-thumping heartbeat echoing her own, she decided she wouldn't let fear hold her back any longer. As Zaria prepared to re-engage, she felt an unfamiliar thrill. She understood this, she was more than just another artist, she was a force, ready to carve her future. But uncertainty still lingered. Could she keep this momentum going, or would one moment of doubt undermine everything she'd built? The gallery buzzed around her, and as she stepped further into the crowd, Zaria knew this was only the beginning of her fight. What lay ahead could change everything, or it might just break her. With that thought lingering, she squared her shoulders and took her first confident step into the fray. This was her chance. Would she grasp it or let it slip away? Zaria stood in the midst of the vibrant crowd pulsing through the gallery, a swirl of emotions tugging at her heart. The bright colors of her paintings danced along the walls, a testament to her journey, yet every shadow of doubt remained like an uninvited guest. She took a deep breath, centering herself. This was it. Her moment was now. Zaria. A familiar voice called from behind her. She turned to see Mia approaching, a smile plastered across her face. You did brilliantly. Mr. Collins is buzzing with excitement. Zaria felt a flicker of hope ignite within her. Really? He seemed interested, but it's hard to tell with investors sometimes, she replied, her voice slightly trembling. Trust me, Mia insisted, her enthusiasm infectious. He's a tough crowd, but he's fully engaged. Just keep being yourself. Zaria nodded, taking in Mia's words. Just being herself. It was simple, yet so profound. She instinctively ran her fingers over the canvas fabric of her clothes, feeling the brushstrokes of her spirit interwoven into the fabric as well. As Mia guided her through the gallery, Zaria caught glimpses of visitors, each leaning in closely to explore her art. Their faces illuminated with wonder, laughter, and resonance. It felt surreal. Her heart swelled with pride. For years she had been told her dreams were too big. Now each piece of her art invited people into her heart. Suddenly, she heard a voice behind her, a skeptical whisper that brought a chill to her spine. Is this girl even ready for such an opportunity? It echoed in her mind, a reminder of doubts she thought she'd buried. Just breathe, she murmured to herself, refocusing on the art that had been her voice for so long. Zaria. Jay had navigated his way through the crowd, his bright smile cutting through her swirling thoughts. You won't believe this. I just spoke to another group, they want to know more about the performance. Excitement surged through her, coursing like electricity in her veins. Really? What did you say? Everything. About your journey, your vision. They're interested in collaborating. He exclaimed. Her eyes widened. Wow, I didn't think it would generate this kind of buzz. A radiant smile spread across her face. She felt like a flower bursting forth in early spring, open to the sun after a long winter. Trust your instincts, Zaria. You're making waves. Jay encouraged, his voice filled with conviction. Encouraged by his words, Zaria turned back to the gallery. She spotted Mr. Collins in deep conversation, gesturing animatedly. The knot in her stomach loosened slightly. I want to share something, Zaria said suddenly, her voice steady. I've been working on this performance piece. It represents perseverance and hope, and I want people to feel my story. Let us talk about it, Jay said confidently, placing a reassuring hand on her shoulder. With newfound determination, Zaria walked up to Mr. Collins, heart drumming in her chest. Mr. Collins, I wanted to discuss a performance aspect for the showcase, she began, every syllable spilling out like paint from the most vibrant colors. He turned, interest piqued. Please, share your idea. As Zaria spoke, her voice carried the weight of her journey. It's more than just art, it's about connecting through my story. I want to create an experience that resonates, something that speaks to those who feel unheard. Collins nodded, his brows furrowing deeper as he contemplated her words. Unique angle. But can you put it all together by the showcase date? I can, Zaria replied firmly, a surge of confidence swelling inside her. Her hard work, her late nights, her fears, they had all brought her here, to this pivotal moment. Collins smiled, finally breaking the distance. Let us work out the details. I'm intrigued. The melting tension felt like ice thawing under the sun. Outside the gallery, the world sparkled. Laughter erupted, and applause echoed in the air. Zaria, along with Jay and Mia, stepped into the brightness. Each footfall resonated like a drumbeat of triumph. Suddenly, she felt the warmth of realization wash over her. Every challenge, every tear, every moment of questioning herself had brought her to this point. She was not just fighting against doubt, she was rising above it. What's next? Jay asked, glancing at her with admiration. I want to keep sharing my story, Zaria replied, her voice filled with clarity. And I want to help others find their voices too. With determination igniting her spirit, Zaria opened her arms to embrace the possibilities ahead. She was ready to take on the world one brushstroke at a time. The shadows of doubt had been behind her, and now the light of her dreams was illuminating a path ahead. And as they stepped into the world beyond the gallery, Zaria felt free. She was no longer the girl weighed down by doubt, she was a beacon of hope, shining bright and ready for whatever came next. This was only the start of her chapter, and she intended to write it boldly. You need to subscribe now to catch the next inspiring stories. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep these transformations coming. Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Your support makes all the difference.